Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. I need you guys to smash that like button. We're going to continue the Faceless Type Beat channel series right here at BusyWorksBeats.com, my original series where I show you guys how to go every single step through the process of creating a Faceless Type Beat channel. So today we're going to be making beats and I'm going to show you every part of the process. And here is, we didn't post on this channel. The last time I posted was a month ago, but in these 3 posts plus our shorts, we had over 3,000 views on YouTube alone. And so it just shows that it's, this stuff works. It's a matter of consistency. Okay, so I got to work on a consistent release schedule for that channel. Now also too, I got to think about what content can I create around this beat I'm about to make. Okay, so we have to like multi-purpose our stuff. So I'm working on a pack called Blueprint. It's not out yet. But it will be at busyworksbeats.com. But until then, let's start making some. And it comes with kick drums, snares, hi-hats, drum breaks, anything you need for hip hop. Let's go over here to the left side. Let's switch this to some Mellotron sounds. So I'm going to be a little weird with the sound choice here because Drake's beats, in my opinion, they start with like a very unique sound. And that could come from just clicking random stuff sometimes. Forget the Mellotron. Let's go to the synthesizer. Let's go to EFM1. Let's give them like that Will Smith pack. All right, let's go to 140. Actually, let's go to a danceable BPM like 128. Let's create like an upbeat Drake type vibe. Okay. Let's record this. Now we're going to turn it into more of a hip hop bop, but let's record that. Okay, I don't know why it was muted. That's weird. Okay, why is this giving me troubles today? Let's run this back, y'all. Sorry, y'all. So we're using that Trecio. So it's Trecio. So that's the pattern there. I taught you guys that in the 50 Laws of Beat Making, part 1. Or excuse me, part 2, I think, was drum patterns. Let's quantize this to the grid. We want super quantized notes for this. We're not adding too much swing. So now we got to build around this. So this is going to be our contrast layer. Now let's add a harmony. Let's figure out which chords will go with this. Now it could just be a vocal that we need. So let's just open up stuff. Let's not get too focused on what thing we need, but we definitely need some kind of harmony. Let's go to their sampler here. Let's try some the multi-sampler. And let's see what they have under vocals, if they have any. I don't know. Let's go to world. Let's try some world stuff. We're going to try some textures. I might even see what other has. What's other? What's this? So it feels like a sample. I like it, except that bass note. I could fix it, but I don't have time to be going through all that. So I like the... Here we go. So a lot of these are chord based, so I'm going by ear because you have to transpose. This would be cool if it didn't have a bunch of background stuff in it. This feels gangster. I don't even know if those match, but we're gonna do it for now. 1, 2. again, I don't even know if they're in the same key. Doesn't sound like it, but we're gonna purposely blend those two. If anything, I might redo the. Yeah, I might just redo the notes on it. Yeah, let's make that match actually. Okay, so let me go back and redo this bass. Just gotta fix one note. We're gonna change the B note to the C. I just hit the wrong note. So we're gonna take these up. All right, let's quantize these notes. So again, notice how I'm being kind of free form with the intent here because I just want to get to that unique sound. I'm not trying to force feed it into a filter, but we definitely want a danceable beat. Let's get the trap drums. So, wow, see what I'm doing. Let's left click, drag this into a drum machine designer. So now we need a snare. I'm gonna use some sounds from the Blueprint kit coming out soon. Still sound designing it. Let's try some sounds. Trying to hear my preview of my sounds. Here we go. Let's use this kind of hi-hat, more of an acoustic hi-hat. And let's add that to the, here we go. So we're getting more like a New York. So now we just need a hard snare. Oh, wow. Let me record these hi-hats. Actually, no, let's not do that yet. I want to show you guys how to use that step sequencer. Let's go back to the sound design here. Let's find a snare. Find a snare that matches this vibe. I don't know how to hear these in context, so I gotta kind of hear these. So I'm gonna use a more acoustic drums here, not trap drums. All right, let's do the hi-hats. Actually, what am I saying? Let's just program this in. I kind of want to do this kick by hand, actually. Let's record the, let me think of a fast way. Let's go to the pencil tool. Go to the step sequencer. Hit Control, was it Alt? I forgot the shortcut, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I forgot the shortcut that fast. Okay, so it's Control Alt to do like a note like this, and then hit Command R. So now it's gonna go. Okay, now we can loop this. Now normally I would do the drums in the actual drum designer, but let's just do the kick and the snare by hand. I just feel like it's just easier to do it. Let me actually do the kick and the snare. Let's run that back. So I have two snares here. I have one's a little more aggressive. Okay, so now we have those in. I'm debating if I want to quantize the kick and the snare. I don't think they need to be, but let's just see. Actually, yeah, they need to be quantized to match the vibe. So let's quantize. let's go to the drum machine designer. I think the hi-hat has a little gap. We're just gonna take out this little gap. There we go. So it's a little bit more on beat. We're gonna group all these, hit control. We're gonna create a track stack. So the track stack is just going to allow me to add effects to the entire group. So I'm not gonna add any effects just yet. So again, the full kit is gonna come with one-shots and drum breaks. So let's add an EQ, channel EQ to the drums. I like to just boost up the lows and just boost the gain. Now you can pull out the detailed. Okay, so let's go to this piano here. I'm gonna send it to a bus, in this case, a bus number 10. Why is it on 10? I guess we used up the other one. So this is bus 10. Now on bus 10, we're gonna add the Spring Reverb by Arturia. So it's called Reverb Spring 636. This is a really good one. Let's send the harmony sound to this reverb. Now I like to make mine even more grimy. Let's go to the multi-effects beat breaker. We're gonna go to where it says halftime. So now I'm slowing down the reverb to make it darker. And then we can EQ out any frequencies we don't want. Let's add a high pass filter and just kind of cut out the lows here. And then we can also add a delay to kind of pan around that reverb. So let's just try it. This is gonna fill out the beat sonics without adding a bunch of sounds. So now I feel like we need some kind of either aggressive piano top line or aggressive bass, like an 808. So let's try both. Let's add a piano. Let's go to the studio instruments. Let's go to studio piano here. And let's switch this to what's called a vintage upright piano. We're gonna switch the mic to the mono mic. That way we get more of a dark sound. And now I'm gonna come up with the top line. But the top line has to match the rhythm of that dum 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 dum, because in a way that is the melody for the beat. So we don't want to overkill too many rhythms. So what I might do is take out this contrast layer. That way we can kind of build up the melody over time and have different parts to it. So I did initially want a danceable beat, but now we're getting into dark Drake. So for the first half, let's create some kind of melody. I gotta figure out what note the piano's even playing. So it goes from A to D. So let's go, a couple octaves. So I'm playing D minor because A is the top note, and then G major. And we could also play fifths, D to A and then G to D. So I'm just kind of messing around with the keys here until we get a vibe. Simple little anchor note starting from D. There's a couple notes I got wrong at the end. Also, I think I didn't quantize those chords. So at the end here it should be D, G, or D, yeah, A and then G. Okay, so let's try quantizing this. Let's hit Control A, so grab your slider, hit Q. The reason I'm quantizing my notes is similar to auto-tune. For trap music, most notes are quantized. Let's go to the harmony section, because here I think I forgot to quantize, and I think a couple notes are off the grid. Let's go to our drum channel, and let's add this plugin under distortion. Let's go to where it says distortion 2. Let's bring the mix level down. It's a good way to get grime out of your drum. Let's add the distortion before the channel EQ. That way we can enhance the lows. Now on the entire track, let's add some distortion here. So we're going to try different distortion types. This one's a little too aggressive. I like distortion 2 because it allows you to swap out the types. So let's try different types. So I took off the double layer of distortion on the drums. That way we get just one type of distortion. I'm going to turn the drums down until I figure out, for these keys, I want it to go through that same reverb. Let's turn this down. I think it was bus 10. Goes to the reverb chain. Also on this piano, I want to add a tape delay. Under tape delay, what we can do is some really unique stuff. If we turn the delay time to 0, and turn the filter off, basically just slide the filter to the maximum and minimum value here. It's a little quirky on how to do it. And we're going to turn feedback all the way down. Everything else becomes an effect. So now we can turn up the wet level to 100%, dry level to 0, and now everything becomes an effect. So basically I want to add a little more variation in the pitch and the volume. So let's do flutter and LFO, which is the vibrato type sound. We could also filter the keys. Let's see what happens if we take the keys to have 0 output, but now it only goes to that effects chain. So now it's not a direct output, it's going through reverb and all the things that we added, like halftime. So now the melody is pushed to the back. Let's also add a little bit of a filter to this piano. It's a little bright. Let's do maybe a 6 dB per octave cut, just to muffle the sound a little bit. So now it's not so bright. Let's figure out if we have an 808. And then we can swap to this sound. And now it has that danceable vibe. Let's find an 808. Let's just start with the spins. Let's just drop this into an optimized quick sampler so we can play notes. And also I like this because it comes with a filter that has a nice drive, so we can saturate the 808 if we have to. I don't know if this 808 will be the one we use, but let's just start with this one. It's hard to hear the tuning. So I'm starting with G. Looks like G is going to be that root note. So spin sounds good. We could sit here and try to figure out the exact 808. All we need is just the 808 energy. So I'm playing G, and then we're playing the 5th, which is D. on this part, I'm not sure the bass will match. Let's just see. Let's just duplicate that bass over. Let's loop this. Left click up top. It probably won't fit the vibe because we have two basses stacked on top. See how there's too much bass. We could technically sidechain, but it's just too many contrast layers. Let's quantize this bass. Also, forgot the shortcut for it. I think it's like, what is that shortcut? Let me see if I can find that shortcut on how to elongate the notes. All right, so the command is a random. Okay, so it's shift and then the backslash, and that fills out the notes. So let's swap out the snare or layer the snare. Let's go to our designer here. Let's find another snare. Maybe let's layer it with, I'm trying to create a unique sound, so we're trying to get away from the basic snare. Let's see what we can find here. Okay, let's layer the snare in here. Let me see, let's replace. The thing is, if we replace the snare, then we're gonna have to do a bunch of stuff. So let's just do this snare, start it at a different starting point so it doesn't have a tail on it. And I'm just gonna go back and record that snare in. Just gotta find it. Okay, so this snare here. Let me clone this. I don't know why we can't hear it on this channel. I'm hitting the wrong one. Okay, there we go. So let's run that back. So let's just add the snare. Now we have it. We could just double click, hit Control A, hit Q to quantize, make sure it's at 100 strength. So now we can layer the snare. Might tune it down. So I'm pitching this snare down a little bit. I'm also going to go back to the hi-hat and just fade it a little bit. Now it's a little bit shorter. Now we can go to the individual sound by going to the drop down, finding the hi-hat, click inside the sampler itself. Here's where we can get granular with it. So I'm going to try to drive this hi-hat a little bit and just fade it. Let's turn it up a little bit. So now I'm shortening the hi-hat. Also, we can mess with the tuning here. There we go. So now it has like a ring to it. Again, when that 808 and that other bass hit at the same time, we're gonna have a lot of clashing. So it might not be ideal to have those stacked. Let's make sure we drag our kicks over and that secondary snare. Now let's focus on the stereo bus to get a little more energy out this mix. We're going to use the EQ and the expander. Let's go to expander. So this also has a soft clipper in it, so it adds some more texture to it. Let's add another EQ just to turn it stuff down so we're not going crazy loud. So we're basically adding a punchiness to the hi-hats and the snare and the kick. Let's turn the 808 down. 808's too loud. We could also add some distortion to the 808 for a different tone. So we're getting different harmonics. All right, so let me fix my camera here. Didn't realize my camera turned off by itself. All right, so that's how you create density in your track without adding 1,000 instruments. We literally have one piano, harmony sound, and a bass and drums. And then we have another bass sound over here with the same harmony without the piano. So we don't need a bunch of sounds. I think it's how we understand harmonics and sonics, some people call it, and the space of a track without overkilling it. Now, one more technique I want to see. Now, this usually works at higher BPMs, but let's just try it out. We're going to right-click here, go to Custom Control. Go to the drop-down, go to Custom. Let's go to Vary Speed. We're going to switch this to Vary Speed, and then switch this to Detune mode. And let's try going up and down 3 semitones. Now going up makes your track feel faster. This has a very danceability. So I turned that dark sound into a danceable sound. So I like this tuning. This tuning is definitely my favorite. One thing I might do is just slow it down to 120 instead of 128. Let's hear what this sounds like. kind of like the pitched up at the higher BPM, 128. Now let's try slowed down. So we're gonna do -3 semitones, and then we're gonna do 128 BPM and see what it sounds like. This is like Drake's Griselda bag right here. I can hear. So on this slowed down one, I can hear Drake going crazy. So that's how I experiment with the last little vary speed. It gives you a whole different vibes. One's super danceable, and then one's just like that gritty New York vibe. So I favor the gritty New York vibe, that slowed down Drake flow, and then it gets into a danceability at the end. Whereas with the higher semitone value, it took. Sorry, I got my voices on loop. So basically with the higher semitone value, it took that dark sound and made it danceable, and then it flipped it. If you go down 3 semitones, it makes it super dark. The danceable part even becomes darker. But like I said, going up 3 semitones in this case gave it the dark side, a more dance in this case gave it danceability. All right, guys, so I'm gonna wrap this video here before the audio gets crazy. That's my technique. Thank you guys for watching. It's Game from BusyWorksBeats.com. Go to sign up for free at BusyWorksBeats.com. Peace.